Hi. This week's First Chapter Friday is Maybe He Just Likes You by Barbara D. And the reason I picked this book is I have a kind of an exciting announcement, which is on World Read Aloud Day in February, actually February 2nd to be exact. We're actually going to have the opportunity to Zoom with Barbara D., this author who also wrote Halfway Normal and a bunch of other books. I know she's kind of a favorite of quite a few people at our school. So I'm very excited about that. We also have Lisa Phipps, who wrote Starfish, is also going to do a quick Zoom with us that day, and I'm going to try to line up some more. So I'm excited about that, and I'm going to read you the first couple of chapters of this book, Maybe He Just Likes You, which was on the Golden Dome Award list last year. So the first chapter is called Pebbles. Every day that September, the four of us escaped outdoors. The weather was warm, a little too warm for fall if you thought about it, and the cafeteria smelled gross, like melted cheddar cheese and disinfectant. So when the bell rang for lunch, we each grabbed something fast, a container of yogurt, a bag of chips, an apple, and ran out to the blacktop where you could play basketball or run around or just talk with your friends and breathe actual oxygen for 30 minutes. Today was Omi's 12th birthday, and we'd planned a surprise. While Max distracted her inside the cafeteria, Zara and I would run out to the blacktop and make a giant O out of pebbles. The O was my idea. Her actual name was Naomi Jacinta Duarte Chavez, but we called her Omi for short. And the thing about Omi was that she collected things from nature: seashells, bird feathers, stones in weird shapes and colors. So first we'd give Omi a birthday hug inside the O, and then we'd give her a little red pouch of chocolate pebbles, basically M&Ms, but each one a different pebbly shape and color. It wouldn't be some generic babyish birthday celebration with cupcakes for the whole class, like you did in elementary school. Just something personal and private for our friends. But what happened was, the exact second Zara and I stepped outside, Ms. Wardak, the lunch aide, blocked us. Usually she ignored us, and we ignored her back, although not today for some reason. "What are you girls doing out here?" she demanded. "You're supposed to go get lunch first." "We know, but it's our friend's birthday," Zara said, "and we wanted to make her name out of pebbles." "I'm sorry, what?" Miss Wardak's whistle bounced on her chest. "Just her first initial," I said. "Out of pebbles?" Miss Wardak asked. "That's a birthday present?" Suddenly, I was feeling a little sticky inside my fuzzy green sweater. We didn't have time for this conversation, and we definitely didn't have time to explain seventh graders, if Miss Wardak didn't understand things. "It's not the whole present," I said quickly. "Just one little thing we wanted to do. And please, we really do need to hurry, because our friend is coming out here any second, so—" Miss Wardak sighed, like she didn't have the energy to argue that normal humans like their presents pebble-free and in boxes. "Fine, just be sure you clean up the mess afterward, girls. I don't want any basketball players to trip." "Oh, we won't be anywhere near the basketball hoop," Zara promised. "That's kind of the opposite of where we'll be. We're usually over where it's more private." I tugged her sleeve. Sometimes Zara didn't keep track of time very well. And anyway, I couldn't see a reason to share our lunchtime habits with Miss Wardak. We ran over to the far edge of the blacktop, where a strip of pebbles divided the ground into school and not school. Often during lunch, my friends and I hung out here and just talked. Or sang, mostly that was Zara, who world premiered her own compositions. Or pebble hunted, mostly that was Omi, although sometimes me too. One time, Max and I joined a game called Untag on the blacktop. Not elementary school tag, but a whole different version with crazy complicated rules. Though usually we just hung out, just the four of us, because I had band right after lunch and we wouldn't be together for the rest of the afternoon. "Hey, Mila, look at this one. It's literally purple," Zara shouted at me as she crouched over the pebbles. And, "Ooh, this one looks sort of like an arrowhead or Oklahoma." "We don't have time to pick individually." I scooped up a handful of pebbles and started laying them out on the blacktop. "Come on, Zara, just help me make the O." All right, she pretend grumbled. "How big?" "I don't know, big enough for the four of us to stand in. So it's like an O for Omi, and also a circle of friendship." I'd thought of that just now, although I couldn't decide if it was cute or stupid. Zara loved it. "Circle of friendship? Oh, that's perfect, Mila." She began singing, "Circle of friendship. Eek, hurry, I see them coming." Max and Omi were scurrying toward us, dodging a basketball. I hadn't seen it happen, but somehow, over the past minute, a game had started on the other end of the blacktop. The usual boys, Callum, Leo, Dante, and Tobias, crashing into each other, banging the ball against the blacktop, thwump, 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 shouting, laughing, cheering, arguing. Over here! I could hear Callum shouting at the others. His voice was always the one that reached my ears. Here, throw it to me! We finished the O just as our friends arrived. Happy birthday! Zara shouted, opening her arms wide. Look, Omi, we made you an O for your initial and also a literal circle of friendship. Which was Mila's idea, she added, catching my eye. Omi clapped her hands and laughed. I love it, you guys. It's beautiful. Thank you. I'll treasure it always. Well, maybe not always, I said, grinning. It's just a temporary work of art. Yeah, like a sand sculpture, Max said. His big blue eyes were shining. Or have you ever seen a Buddhist sand mandala? They use these different colors of sand. It's incredibly cool. And then they destroy it on purpose. Max's mom was a Buddhist, so he knew all sorts of things like that. Huh, Zara said. Interesting, Max, but a little off topic. She pulled Omi inside the O. Birthday hug, everyone in! The four of us crowded into the O and threw our arms around each other. Because I was shorter than everyone else, I found myself in the middle of the hug, staring straight into Zara's collarbone. I'd never noticed it before, but she had a tiny, snail-shaped freckle on her neck, 2 shades darker than her light brown skin. Okay, this is great, but promise you won't sing happy birthday? Omi was giggling. Sorry, Omi, it's required by headquarters, Zara replied. She began singing in her strong, clear alto. Still hugging, Max and I joined in, a bit off key, but so what? We were just up to happy birthday, dear Omi, when something brushed my shoulders, a hand. Suddenly, we were surrounded by the basketball boys, Callum, Leo, Dante, and Tobias. They locked arms around us and were singing along. Well, sort of singing. Happy birthday to you, Callum shouted into my hair. His breath on my neck made me shiver. Now the song was over, but the hug was still happening. Callum's hand clamping the fuzz of my green sweater. The basketball boy smelled like boy sweat and pizza. I told myself to breathe slowly through my teeth. What are you doing, Leo? Zara laughed, a bit too loudly. Or maybe it just felt loud because she was so close. Who said you could join the hug? Don't be nasty. We just wanted to say happy birthday, Leo said. Not to you, Zara, to Omi. Zara flinched. It was a quick enough flinch that maybe I was the only one who noticed. But then I knew all about Zara's giant crush on Leo, who had wavy sandy-colored hair, greenish eyes, and just a few freckles. He was cute, but in a, hey, don't you think I'm cute sort of way. I wriggled my shoulder, but Callum's hand was squeezing and not leaving. Now I could feel my armpits getting damp. Well, thanks, but I'm kind of getting smushed here, Omi called out. So if you guys wouldn't mind. Okay, sorry, Leo said. Happy birthday, Omi. Bye. All at once, like a flock of birds, they took off for the basketball court. Immediately, my friends and I pulled apart, and I could breathe normally again. Okay, that was weird, I said, brushing the boy molecules off the fuzz of my sweater. Oh, Mila, don't be such a baby, Zara said. They were just being friendly. I snorted. You think getting smushed like that was friendly? Yeah, Zara, Max said. You're only saying that because you like Leo. Zara gave a short laugh. All right, Max, I agree. The whole thing was incredibly awkward. But I thought it was kind of sweet. Didn't you, Omi? I don't know. I guess, Omi said. Maybe. She shrugged, but she was smiling, also blushing. Max's long hair was in his face, so I couldn't see his eyes. Well, they wrecked the O, he muttered. He was right. The pebbles were scattered everywhere. No more circle of friendship or O for Omi. Dang, I said. Well, we did promise Ms. Wardak we'd clear off the pebbles. So we should put them back now anyway. Who's Ms. Wardak? Omi asked. You know, the lunch aide. I started kicking the pebbles over to the edge of the asphalt, and so did Max. Oh, who cares about her, Mila? Zara said impatiently. She grabbed Omi's hand. We have another present for you, and it's so much better. Look. Zara reached into her jeans pocket and pulled out the little red sack of chocolate pebbles. Omi screamed, Oh my God, you guys, I love these. How did you know? Because we're your best friends and we do pay attention, Zara replied, beaming. I almost added that they were my idea, but I decided that wouldn't be best friendly. I'm going to read the next chapter because it's really short. It's called Swish. Aside from lunch, when I could be with my friends, my best time at school was definitely band. I could be having a boring or awful or not very fun day, and then as soon as I started playing my trumpet, I felt like the skies were opening up, and I had this feeling of endless space. No people or clouds or even buildings anywhere, just big wide fields of grass and a blank blue sky. Sometimes when I was playing, I even saw the color blue. I don't mean I literally saw the color blue, I mean it felt like the color blue, calm and open like it could go on forever. Also, it just felt good to get really loud because all day long teachers were telling us to be quiet. No talking, no laughing, no whispering. Sometimes our math teacher even complained about loud sighing. So band was the one time of day when you could let it out. Should let it out. The louder the better. And after that weirdness today at lunch, I needed band. But as soon as I took my chair in the trumpet section, I could tell something was up. People were standing around, chatting, laughing nervously, instead of warming up their instruments. "What's going on?" I asked the kid to my right, Rowan Crawley. "Section leader's getting announced," he muttered. "That means Callum, of course." "Dude," Dante agreed. He shoved Callum playfully. Callum grinned. I couldn't even look at him. Instead, I took my trumpet out of its case, wiping it slowly and carefully with a little gray cloth. Wipe, wipe, wipe. Miss Fender tapped her music stand with her baton. "Okay, people, here we go," she said. "I'm ready to announce this year's 7th grade band leaders." Everyone stopped talking. Have you ever seen a tree full of chirping birds when a hawk or a fox appears? All of a sudden, there isn't a peep, just a sort of loud quiet. It was almost like that in the band room, except for chairs squeaking. So it was weird that my heart was thumping. I mean, I knew I played trumpet really well, and I'd even taken some private lessons over the summer with this cool high school girl named Emerson. But I didn't really think Miss Fender was going to pick me for section leader. She was the kind of teacher who had special pets. People like Samira Spurlock on clarinet and Annabelle Cho on the saxophone, who I thought of as pets number 1 and 2. And of the trumpet players, her favorite was Callum, pet number 3. We'd only been in 7th grade band for a couple of weeks, but already she'd made that clear. As soon as she handed out a new piece of music, she'd ask him to stand up and play it, not just for the trumpet section, but for the whole band. I'm not saying he wasn't a good player, and it wasn't that I was jealous, but I couldn't help wondering, why was it always him? First, I want to make clear that being chosen section leader is an honor, but also a big responsibility, Miss Fender was saying. So if you don't practice your instrument every day, you will quickly lose your position. She gave the whole band a stern look over her music stand. "We have a very ambitious program this year, and I'm going to need leaders I can count on. We all do." Miss Fender paused as she flipped her honey-colored hair over one shoulder. Music teachers know about timing. And now she was smiling. "All right, then, without further ado, here are our 7th grade band leaders. Please stand when I call your name. For clarinets, Samira Spurlock. For saxophones, Annabelle Cho. For trumpets, Callum Burley. Hey, what a surprise, pets number 1, 2, and 3. Dante, who played trumpet, and Leo, who played sax, started cheering like they were at a basketball game. Tobias, trombone, actually whistled. Callum stood, raking his floppy brown hair out of his dark brown eyes, blushing and smiling at his friends. And when he bowed, a sort of bow in quotation marks, as if he were wearing a tuxedo, his hand swished across my shoulder. Had he noticed this? It was hard to imagine that he hadn't. My sweater was green and fuzzy, so unless his hand was expecting to collide with a Muppet or something, he should have been startled. Although he'd already touched my sweater once today during Omi's birthday hug. And actually, this hand swish was much quicker, more random than the shoulder squeeze. Still, it was the kind of contact that meant you should apologize, even if he hadn't hurt my shoulder. But when I looked at him, he didn't say anything or even glance in my direction. Probably he was focused on Miss Fender, looking cool to his friends, making an impression on the entire band, who were all smiling at him clapping, so of course that's what I did too. So, this is a realistic fiction story, and I think that you should check it out, and a lot of the other books by Barbara D. too, to get ready for her visit with us on February 2nd.